Hello everyone, welcome to Cover 2 TV. We're back after a week's hiatus because Chris was in Paris and I was busy with my kids. Geno was not, no life. He was here on his own.
I only got back like the day before.
I was going to say Geno was
Had a good time.
Yeah, it was good.
How was Paris?
Excellent. Good. Yeah. Kids.
You fine, yeah?
Still
Kids?
dead away.
Just kids, yeah. How was Germany?
It was great. Full of rich Germans are really, where I was really rich. Regretted my whole life choices.
Fair enough, yeah.
So you're moving to...
Well, I'm moving to Canada in a couple of months, so complete different change.
You want to be going to Germany?
Well, I should have just done finance at uni and moved to Germany and been on like 80 grand a year or whatever they're on.
You could just go to Norway. You'd earn 38 for being a waiter in a restaurant.
But you pay 36 of it in taxes.
But
don't speak
like,
Norwegian.
That's why loads of Norwegians come over to Liverpool, I reckon. I've been to Norway. It's incredibly expensive. A bottle of Corona I paid £12 for.
Yeah.
They can literally fly to Liverpool, take in a game, pay over the odds, pay it out, get bladdered all week and go back instead of just having a pizza in Norway with a beer.
Again, I deal with this more than anyone. They're a pain in the ass.
Welcome to Cover 2 TV, the NFL show. There you go, that was our week. Anyway, that's what we got up to in our bye week. Let's talk NFL action. I suppose the biggest story since we last recorded them was the fact the Green Bay Packers fired Mike McCarthy after they lost.
Green Bay
fired Mike McCarthy after he lost at home to they lost at home to the Cardinals. It was no big surprise, Chris. It was.
You know what? I'd say it was.
Okay.
I thought it was coming, but I didn't think they'd get rid of him now.
No, it was coming, but I didn't think it'd be like hours after the game. But it was obviously.
I just thought end of the season they cut the losses and they'd move on, but. Yeah, it's a really surprising decision for me. I know Sean Payton's come out, hasn't he, and really backed up Mike McCarthy on this, and he says it's absolutely ridiculous. But quite honestly, if you've got a small window of Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how big Aaron Rodgers' window is anymore. He could play for 5-6 years, but a couple of big injuries and a couple of seasons on the bounce suggests that actually you may see a little bit of that with him. If that window's getting smaller and Mike McCarthy's getting further away from the prize, then something needs to go because you're not going to drop Aaron Rodgers.
No, and Jenna, that's the thing, isn't it? Is that while in a way it's a surprise, what it does do, it's actually probably best for both parties. If you were going to sack him anyway, you might as well sack him now so you can begin your coaching search. And also it helps him because he can now start ringing around because he's going to get interviews in the summer. He can start getting a new staff together so he can be on the phone to, linebackers coaches saying, do you want to be my defensive coordinator or offensive coordinators or whatever. So if you were going to do it, you might as well just do it. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. Fair enough, PR-wise, it isn't great, and you're stuck with Joe Philbin for a few weeks, but ultimately, playoffs are gone, clean break, and it.
But they're not gone though, are they?
They would have to get a lot. I mean, you have to win every single game, and that's what's going to happen. It looks like they've done it. It's probably been the best for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, for
Except
him,
for you.
he's going to get a job straight away. There's going to be one of the jobs coming up. Maybe the Cardinals, who actually batted. Maybe that job comes available because I don't think anyone's really sold on
Cleveland is a good job
on that regime. So he's going to be able to put his heart in the ring, and then they start their search first. What's the point in keeping him? This way they get to have a good look at Joe Philbin because Joe Philbin is the Packers' future.
No, he's not. He absolutely isn't. No, I would cry.
There's talk of John Harbaugh looking to find the way back into the NFL.
Jim.
Jim.
Jim. I'd have John. I wouldn't have Jim. Josh McDaniels, I think, is the favourite as we speak. He's the favourite, but
that's the one I think they'll go for.
Really? I think he'd have been at the Colts if he genuinely hasn't been told he's going to be the next Patriots.
Yeah, the difference is though, I think Belichick, when he talks to his staff's potential head coaching job, he says, look at who's above you, because that's what matters. Whereas the Colts GM, we know what his issues have been.
The owner's a cokehead.
Yeah, exactly. You basically think Belichick would say, listen, you're not going to survive if that person isn't right for you. And
Belichick went through that, didn't he, with the Browns? He
went to go through it with the Jets, and that's why he quit after a day. So I think he would say, listen, you're not going to go to a better situation than the Packers with a kind of still prime Rodgers. Whether we're going to see a decline in Rodgers or whether Rodgers is still just as good, I mean, he needs to throw some checkdowns.
You're going to get 3 years out of him. Probably he's 35, I think, and there is no owner, so that's one thing. It's obviously it's Mark Murphy who's like heads it all up, and then they've only just hired the new GM 1 year into so then he's picking his own guy. I think there was talk of going to college coach. I can't see anyone younger than Aaron Rodgers coming in, like a McVay or something, because I don't think Rodgers I don't think he's the easiest fella to work for or with. I think Rodgers is a bit of a knob, to be honest, but that's who he is. That's his personality. What makes him who he is.
What makes him great as well.
It can do, and I think you need to get someone who's a little bit, not so much older, but someone who gains respect. And I think Rodgers and Brady are very close. There's a friendship there, and if Brady says, "Listen, he's the guy," about McDaniels, then Rodgers will then buy into it. So if I had to pick anybody, I would pick him. There was talk of Bruce Arians on it. Like you mentioned, the short window. Well, we've got 3 years of Rodgers. Let's pair him up with 3 years of Bruce Arians and see what we can get. In terms of scheme, that would make sense because you mentioned there the checkdowns. Well, Bruce Arians doesn't have checkdowns. Everything's intermediate or long, and that's what Rodgers wants to throw. So he's another name, but
Bruce Arians has kind of rejected that. Bruce Arians came out and just went, "I just want the Browns job."
He wants to go to the Cleveland Browns, which is fair enough, and I think that would be a bad fit because again, that's a long-term thing. Cleveland should be looking for a long-term coach, not a 70-year-old or whatever Bruce Arians is. But I think Mike McCarthy could be a good choice for Cleveland. I think he's
the fact is they've got the quarterback, isn't it? That's what it comes down to. Coaches now looking at it and going, "Yeah, I can work with Baker Mayfield."
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to work with Baker
and
Mayfield.
Rodgers
and the defense is sound as well.
Rodgers wasn't Rodgers when he first arrived at Green Bay. His mechanics were horrendous. Obviously, he got to sit and learn, and he himself would credit Mike McCarthy with helping him develop. It was just the last couple of years it's gone a bit stale on. When McCarthy first came about, and then when he first got Rodgers and Rodgers started peaking, that's when McCarthy was like ahead of the game. His offense, where the option routes and that was all new. It was like you were telling your receivers get to the top of your route and then you decide what you do. Rodgers is the same. You ad lib. The league kind of caught up and then and surpassed them. And then it was like watching the Packers this year was like watching 2012. The league's different. It's completely different now. The Sean McVays and the Matt Nagy's and even Frank Reich for the Colts. Like the other day when the Bears run a fairly special last play of the game, the Packers would never in a million years. That just would never have happened under McCarthy. Where Josh McDaniels would do it. Josh McDaniels was happy to pull a tick play out of his bag, wasn't he?
We did it against Tennessee when we were getting battered.
Yeah, just do it, get it out and put it on film if nothing else for somebody else to worry about. Brady's caught passes before we've seen. They've done it against the Packers where Julian Edelman takes a throw. There's all kinds going on, and I think I like Mike McCarthy, but it was the time for him to move on. But they've got to get this next one right. There's no there's talk. I saw an article saying it's a bit like when Andy Reid left Philadelphia, and he's clearly a good coach, and he'll go on to be a good coach somewhere else, and Mike McCarthy will. But the Philly had the Chip Kelly experiment, and while it kind of worked results-wise, it kind of was a disaster as well.
It was basically a disaster.
It was, but they had time to recover because they never had a quarterback, and then they went and got one. It was Nick Foles for a while, wasn't it? And then they kind of messed around. Where the Packers haven't got that opportunity because if you take 2 or 3 years, then Rodgers is done. I don't think he'll play till 40. I don't think he's like.
He doesn't look like he doesn't.
I don't think
look
he wants to.
I think he freelances too much, so he takes too many hits. I mean, there's people talk about Brady not being tough because if anyone gets near him, he just curls up into a ball.
That's preservation.
It's to protect his body. He knows that's all he's got. Whereas we've seen Rodgers take some big hits, and obviously that's why he's got damaged clavicles and.
I think the Brady thing's dead interesting because it does look like he's a bit of a wimp, doesn't it? But when you realise that he's literally he's just going to get up and have another go.
Yeah.
And throughout his career, if you give him 4 downs to get 10 yards, he generally gets it. So losing a down isn't a big deal. Like, and it's that mentality. It's fine. We'll just live and fight another day, and I will be fit and 100%.
And I think if I had to put money on it now, I think McDaniels to Green Bay and McCarthy to Cleveland would be a solidish choice.
I'd have been really shocked with the McDaniels until you both started talking. I've not really considered it. I don't consider yous very often. But yeah, it was the McDaniels thing I just thought was nailed on for the Patriots. But the way that you've explained it there, it does make sense.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If the Patriots,
if Belichick jibbed it in, then obviously McDaniels would step up.
If we win the Super Bowl this season, hopefully I could see both Brady and Belichick walking out the door. So then they would just give the keys to McDaniels. But if that's not happening, if Belichick wants to continue, then you can't wait forever. You've got to take that job. I think one of the other reasons he didn't take the Colts job was no one knew what Andrew Luck was going to be.
Yeah.
It turns out Andrew Luck's been fucking excellent, but we didn't know that going into the season. Yeah. And there's something else that's got to be going on there. I think there's something else that turned him off on that job. Maybe some inside information by Robert Kraft, who knows the owners, whatever. But I've always felt there's something a little bit weird about that one.
Yeah, for sure. And then The second topic I wanted to bring up before we move on to the pick'ems and stuff, I'll come to you next because you're the Patriots expert, but I want your, as a neutral observer, I read an article, it was last week actually, talking about Tom Brady and the fact that, you know, is this the year where we've started to see, because he's always gone up and up and up and up and up, and then the last 2 years, you know, MVP seasons, but this year, just forget results and stuff for now, just watching him on the field, it looks like the arm is starting to finally go a little bit creaky. You know, there's balls diving at receivers' feet. It just doesn't look as crisp.
No, it doesn't. And listen, Jeno is probably the right person to speak to, but my 2 cents worth is that it doesn't look right. But that doesn't mean to say that he'll retire at the end of the year. Maybe if they win the Super Bowl, he will. What I think might, and maybe you'll agree or disagree regardless, what I think McDaniels needs to do is recognise that and change the game plan. And I think that's something that we're still playing with, a game plan that was developed in the summer, in the off-season from last season. We already know about the struggles that he's had with, you know, Gronkowski not being the player that he was, with Edelman not being available for the first half of the season. You know, Gordon's coming in and starting to get some catches and stuff, sound, no problem. But think back to that Denver Broncos side with Peyton Manning. That first season, he went in there and he broke the touchdown record. I think it was the first season, or maybe it was the second, I forget. You know, he breaks the touchdown record, and think about Peyton Manning, how he won the Super Bowl. Completely different game plan. Whereas I feel still that Josh McDaniels is playing on a game plan that was developed for last season's Tom Brady. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it just needs to change a little bit. Sony Michel will help maybe.
Yeah, see, with that, I actually disagree. We have changed it. We play now. We run. That's what we do.
We run the ball bit.
And the reason why we've been lost is when Sony Michel's been injured. Because the game plan now is, it's very much more like the New Orleans Saints game plan. It's make Tom Brady throw as little as possible. Because you're all right, the decline's happening. I can see it. I think everyone can see it. The arm's not quite the same. I was worried when I was hearing about comments in the off-season. It seemed like he wasn't putting in as much work as he usually does. There was just a couple of little red flags there where I was like, is he just talking there, or is he being serious when he's saying, you know, I don't really fancy that and I don't fancy... So I think the decline is coming. It's gradual decline. He's still been a top 10 quarterback.
His mind will get you through most games anyway.
He's been a top 10 quarterback when he's usually the top 1. So you can see that there's a change there. But the other problem we've got is he's got no one to throw to. Julian Edelman, he's not lost his speed. He's lost his quickness. He can't just beat someone in 3 yards of space and leave him. That seems to have gone. Gronkowski can't move. Josh Gordon, as good as he's been, he looks slow as well. So you're going, who's he actually throwing it to? It is very much the check down to White. And then he's having trouble finding anyone else. Everyone else is struggling to get open. Yeah. And then with his own arm strength.
It's not going to hurt you in terms of the division. You're going to win the division or something. But what it might do, it might not get you a bye. And I think that's massive.
I think it's going to get us a bye anyway.
You could get a bye, and that's fair enough. But it might not get you the 1 seed. There's a good chance that might not. And then it won't show it's whatever if there is any issues until the playoffs, until you get to that first playoff game where you might come up against a really good defense, and then if the arm is slightly less, like for example the Jacksonville playoff game, if Brady wasn't peak Brady, that would have been a loss. You know, if he's 5% less against a good defense, so I don't know, San Diego or the Chargers or whatever the Chargers are called now, that's when it might show. For now it's fine, and listen, we would not be at all surprised if in 6-7 weeks' time the Patriots have won the Super Bowl.
Can I ask you a question, Jono? Are people game planning to stop the run for the Patriots now, or are they still concerned about Brady beating them, and that's why the checkdowns are still available?
I would still say they're scared about Tom Brady beating them, and they're allowing us to run all over the place. That's what I was. I think that's
and do you think we would see a more noticeable decline if people decided that Michel was the guy to stop?
I don't think people in the modern day NFL defense, people are set up to stop the run anymore. I think Patriots are zagging.
Linebackers are too small, aren't they?
Yeah. Patriots are zagging while everyone else is zigging, and they're like, well, we're just going to run the ball because you're playing nickel defense a lot of the time. Your linebackers getting smaller and faster. All right, we'll just go 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards.
They're not the only ones doing it, to be fair.
No,
the Rams, the Chiefs were doing it. All the sides
Cowboys
are doing
it.
Very well,
a team who I criticise a lot. They're doing it very well. So I'm saying, but that's sometimes you need to, like, we played the Vikings, and yous were obsessed with throwing the ball and wouldn't run the ball.
It's been all season, mate.
That's why, obviously, I think Patriots won that game. Because they understand it's okay to win a slog. You don't have to beat everyone 50-0.
Same thing with the Packers. They ran the ball pretty well. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube what your thoughts are on Tom Brady. What are your thoughts? Who should the Green Bay Packers hire as the new head coach? If you're listening to the podcast, if you want tweet us at Cover2TV and let us know again. If you're a Packers fan, who do you want? I'm throwing my hat in the Josh McDaniels ring for now. I know he's a bit of a, I don't know, whatever.
Tit.
Let's say that. But so is our quarterback. So I would love a more innovative offense. And there's no one else really now who I think offensive coordinator wise, and I'm looking at going, he looks amazing.
People keep talking about ours, don't they, for big jobs? I hear it on most podcasts that I listen to, and I'm thinking he's not even getting I'm not even getting ours doing well.
No.
At the moment, like, I mean, I understand that he's got an issue. I think there's a big issue there with Zimmer and the style and stuff, but it's been blindingly obvious to me, from my limited knowledge, every single week that we need to run the ball more, because we're just going in and everybody knows what we're
There's a lot of Matt LaFleur love, but Titans aren't much. Like their offense doesn't exactly inspire me at the moment. Again, there's not much going on weapons wise, but there's no. I don't think there's
the
many.
Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator. He's very highly thought of by Andy Reid.
That's what he took over Matt Nagy, didn't he? A system that was working, and then how much is him? And Reid calls the plays. I think
Reid calls the plays, but he's still the play designer.
Yeah, basically. So I don't know, man. I think you need a play caller who's strong enough where Rodgers doesn't just change the line every time.
Just throw this out. Why not go for defensive guy and then let Rodgers run his own offense?
Because I don't think I would want Rodgers running my offense at the moment. I think you need to rein him in a little bit. I think that Rodgers he's been at his best.
We'll run there. Everyone just runs around, play.
Just basically where I point.
Yeah. The
play on the bounce. We've done this.
And you know what? It'd probably work. It'd probably get you 6 and 10. But it wouldn't work. I think Rodgers lost his respect for my play calling, and by the end of it, he was just ad-libbing. Again, that's bad quarterback play. It's bad coach. It's bad everything.
That's being a bad teammate.
It is, yeah. I agree. He hasn't been good. But then also, I think sometimes he looks at the roster makeup, and he looks at what he's been given and what he has, and he looks and he goes, right, I've got Devontae Adams who's a star.
How much money is he on?
A lot of money.
How much is Brady on?
Brady always takes the hometown discount.
Yeah, Brady's took a little bit less. He's got a superstar millionaire wife, which helps.
Okay, Rodgers, yeah, but still.
So
like, I'm not being funny. Rodgers moaning about the personnel that are around him and sits on the fucking big bucks.
No, I agree.
More than anybody
Peyton Manning's
else.
Done it. It happened with Peyton Manning, didn't it, in Indianapolis. At some point you might have to. Drew Brees took a little bit of a discount, didn't he? And that could be something. But if he's getting paid that money, I think he looks at his receivers and goes sometimes, I don't trust these guys.
Take 10 million less.
Maybe
pay a receiver 10 million more. Get a better guy through the door.
What I would say is that,
or just actually use Aaron Jones. He's there. He's fine.
Yeah,
he looks good. Like
let's play.
Let him run the ball.
Again, let us know in the comments who you think. Who do you think? Do you think McDaniels would be the one?
I don't know, but I can't see who else he'd go for. So I'd say McDaniels.
It's going to be a tough coach. I don't think there's many outstanding candidates. I thought last year there were some really obvious ones that were going to get jobs, and Matt Nagy was one of them. For example, I don't see many this year. I thought Pat Shermer looked like he was always going to get somewhere as well. Now I'm looking and thinking, I can't really see many. I mean, Hugh Jackson maybe get him back in love.
Again, I still think you should go for Marv.
Go and get Marvin Lewis. Okay, that
would be fantastic. I want you to get him.
I would cry.
I
would cry. Should we do pick him?
You would just give up, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'd just be like, you know what? We won 5.
Yeah, I'm done.
What's the NBA like?
What's the XFL doing these days? How's Vince getting on? Should we do pick him?
Yeah, let's do it.
As we record this, it's Thursday, so tonight's game we'll gloss over quickly. But Jags at Titans, anyone?
Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to say Titans. I don't care about Titans. Speaking of don't care, the Jets are at Buffalo. Jeez. Who's the Buffalo? Is it still Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I'll go Jets just to be different. Why? Who cares?
How far behind are you?
I haven't looked. I'll be honest. Probably miles.
We're both on the first page now, Chris. But
it's right, lads.
Am I not? I missed like a week. Didn't I?
I don't know how that napkin nearly knocked me off the chair.
How weak are you?
As I went like that to pull back, it was almost lead too far.
That was the whitest fist bump that's ever again. if you listen,
you know what, mate? We had the worst beating to each other. I went for the high five. He went for the kick. And we just as we were passing on the stairs, and he went as he mumbles all the time. I was like, that was terrible. I was like, yeah, but we're white. We're not redoing the handshake.
No,
there's only white people.
I never stopped. I just went, that was fun.
We're so
But yeah, I just leant too far on this chain. Joe Dwight spins. Oh well, fuck.
You don't know your own strength, Chris. That's what that was. This is a big game, actually. A couple of weeks ago, ever since I said the Panthers are looking good, they've lost 3 straight and now 6-6.
Well, Cam Newton's shoulders basically fell off.
It looks like he's not doing the best, and he's at the 4-7-1, kind of still alive in the playoff Cleveland Browns. Does anyone want to go Cleveland?
No, I'm alright.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, let's go for it.
I'm going to go Panthers, but I would not be at all surprised if that one goes to Cleveland. Falcons at Joe Philbin's barmy, amazing comeback army.
I said to you before we filmed, I was like, you can't lose 2 games at home on the bounce, can you? And he went, yeah, so I've decided to go with the Falcons on this one.
Anyone who was even remotely slightly injured for the Packers has just been put on IR. So they're just phoning this one in. Mike Daniels has just gone.
Do they realise it's fantasy footy playoff week? Yeah, it's a bit unfair.
They don't play the Falcons.
I'm gutted I am because I've got Melvin Gordon and they're just going to rest him now until the playoffs.
More than likely. I think the Falcons are going to win this game, I'll be honest. The Falcons own us anyway.
Yeah, I was going to think that the Falcons own you, but then I was thinking Joe Philbin's getting a Packers job.
imagine he goes and wins 4 games and we go 8-7-1 playoffs. No, that was terrible maths. 8-7-1. What was I talking about? 7-7-1, and even then, the Packers have done me in.
That would be 8-7-1.
It would be 8-7-1. I said 8-8-1. I think.
Just move on.
Give up. 8-7-1 does make sense. Indianapolis 6-6 go to Houston.
The sneaky best team in the league.
The 9. Have they won 9 on the run? Yeah. 9 on the run. The most. I don't know. The most undefeated streak. The biggest.
Underrated. Never spoken about. Actually, very good.
In the mix with like the number 1 seed, Houston Texans. They're a game back on the Chiefs. Where's this come from?
No one's spoken about them for weeks. And
like they keep beating all these shit teams. You're like, well, they're only beating shit. And then it's like, oh shit.
They're 9 times on the bounce.
The whole league's not that great at the moment. And they've had some fluky wins. Like they had the Colts going for it on 4th down because they didn't want to tie. And then they went and kicked the field goal. But fair play to Houston. They're doing well. They're
finding a way to win. And that's why I've picked the Houston Texans. Even though I really like the Colts this year.
Yeah, if it was in Indianapolis, I'd probably pick the Colts, but I'm going to go Texans. Texans have a sneaky good home field as well, by the way. It works out well for them. The difference is that Colts are really protecting Andrew Luck well, and we'll see how that holds up this week. Because this is the ultimate test. Now they've got to. Can you stop Clowney, Merciless, and what? I'm going to say they can't, and that's why I've gone Texans.
I've gone Texans. I just think they're the better team.
But they haven't got a better quarterback.
No, but everyone else.
It's not all about the quarterback.
I mean, look at this.
I was going to say, you're preaching to the choir there.
Look at their skill positions, though. They've got Nuke Hopkins. The Colts have got who?
T.Y.
Yeah.
But
who else? Boss T.Y. Hilton.
He is amazing. But then...
you got Ebron, who's good in the red zone.
Houston have got that fella who's like... Oh yeah, I've heard of him. He can be my bench in fantasy, like Lamar Miller and Demarius Thomas. Like, oh yeah, I've got him. Yeah, but then Nuke's unstoppable.
Lamar Miller's actually playing really well,
and Nuke's unstoppable.
Yeah,
it's literally unstoppable. But yeah, I'm gonna go Houston. I agree. We probably should. Let's put a pin in Houston, and if they win this week, let's open the show with them next week. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think we've.
If you want our respect, Houston, beat Indianapolis. If you don't, you're last on the agenda every week. Speaking of a good team,
if we're in again next week,
if we turn up, the 10-2 Kansas City Chiefs, Kareem Huntless now after his misdemeanors, and
we're going to do a segment on him.
We were. Let's talk about him now, Chris. Obviously, he's now out the door. The video came out of him, pushing and kicking and whatever with a woman. It wasn't great to watch.
It was horrible.
The Chiefs said they were aware of the incident, but apparently he'd lied to them at some part. That's why they cut him, because there was cloudiness of his honesty and stuff like that, which again, it's all a bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's got something to say.
It's all a bit.
He got cut because they knew what that video was, and then the video came out. If that video doesn't come out, they don't cut him. Let's just be real.
I think they must have. Well, they cut. It was like literally 4 hours after TMZ posted the video online. He's gone. It's one of those where it's like video makes a difference. It really does, because Ray Rice has never played ever again.
But Ray Rice was done at the time anyway.
But he's never been. He's certainly better. He could have still played a bit. There's never been a video of Reuben Foster, and he's just been picked up again, obviously.
Am I right in saying that the police have said back in, was it February there was no charges? Now, if there's no video and the police are saying no charges and Kareem Hunt's lied to you,
what do the Chiefs do? Yeah, what do the Chiefs then?
You know what I mean?
I think
that's what does my nutting about it, because I don't like the way the NFL basically have their own rules in a sense of law enforcement rules. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, the police said nothing happened, and the NFL are like, no, he's banned forever, and it's like, the police said nothing happened, like, but then obviously with video evidence that doesn't stand true. Like,
it's more like the issue that they've really got is that I think it is all about that video. Okay, Reuben Foster, the Redskins,
and he deserves to be banned, by the way. I'm not trying to back him up in any way, shape or form. For what he did, he shouldn't be playing in the NFL, because every single one of them is a role model.
Redskins went and signed Reuben Foster. He might never play, but there's never been a video, but there's pictures coming out of what he has allegedly done to his girlfriend or whatever, and it's bad. But there was never any videos of Greg Hardy, and Greg Hardy was still playing, and yet Ray Rice wasn't. You know, it's and I think, listen, I wouldn't want anyone who's been involved in domestic who's playing for Green Bay. I think if anyone got caught, get rid of them. I'm 100% agree with it. But my issue a lot of the time is that it's only when the public outrage of seeing it on video like comes around that's when they reacted to it. And I agree. If the Chiefs have been lied to, I get what they've gone. Yeah, fair enough. We were lied to. Sorry, we hold on. He's gone. We're not having it. But then I do wonder sometimes. Like, NFL investigated it, and like they never even spoke to Kareem Hunt about it. But they never seen the video. It's like, it's almost the case of they want it out the way, and then when it gets in the way, then they have to act.
But the other thing as well is, like, fair play to the Chiefs, because
he's a big player. It's not like
he's a fucking huge player, but they didn't have to cut him.
No,
like the league hadn't banned him at that point. You know, it happened in a series of events, didn't it, where somebody else could have picked him up.
Yeah, no one took on waivers.
Exactly. Whereas they could have waited not to strengthen somebody else, and they just went, no, fuck off. Yeah. And I like that.
How do we see that? Let's go on the field, General. How do you see that at the impact? Obviously, Spencer Ware's decent. He's not Kareem Hunt. That offense it's probably still going to be explosive, but it does have some type of impact.
It'll be fine, but I think in the playoffs we'll see it. We'll see in the playoffs where that becomes a problem. We'll see them not being able to run the ball, and I think secretly he was the actual thing that made that offense go.
What do you think?
Can that Bell play this year?
No.
That's got some for them. Because he would have just come in and made dollar, like, you know what I mean?
He's still technically not signed, but yeah, he can't play.
No, I think it will have a massive impact. I think he's unbelievable, and the way that they utilise him, the way that they move him around is just huge. I mean, every time I've watched the Chiefs this season, Spencer Ware obviously takes a few snaps, nothing. He's not done a single thing. Now, he played all right at the weekend, to be fair to him, and he looked much better because he's actually getting the reps with the first team and stuff. But I just think that's almost irreplaceable, as Geno says. As soon as it comes to playoff time,
in trouble. You mentioned before about teams selling out on the run to stop the pass, or vice versa. I would happily let Spencer Ware run for 20 times. I would try and do everything I can to stop the pass. Now, it's easier said than done because Tyreek Hill's unguardable and Travis Kelce's amazing.
You might see more of him in the backfield.
Take it now, you don't have to worry about Kelce and Hill. You don't have to worry about Hunt.
The third, yeah, he's gone, but I mean, it's still a big thing, and I think Ware's decent. But I agree, I'd let him run. I say you can run Spencer Ware as much as you want. I'm not terrified of him. Where I would be scared of letting Kareem Hunt have 20 carries because I think he'd hurt you. Having said that, they're at home to the Ravens.
They're still going to win.
And are we still going to pick them?
Yeah.
Is Lamar Jackson fit to play again? I don't know.
I believe so. I believe Joe Flacco's fit as well, but I think they're going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Fair enough. He got smashed, didn't he, on the head? Bless him. Your kryptonite is Miami away.
It's not.
It is.
We lose a game in Miami away every 4 years, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's really hard." It's like
that's kryptonite for you. You've seen your team and that division. You play Buffalo and the Jets.
By the way, have you noticed this thing that some Steelers fans been doing where they're talking about how bad the AFC East is and saying we're lucky, and it's like you're in the North with the Browns and the Bengals and the Joe Flacco-led Ravens.
At least they've been good. At least they've been. No, I think I disagree. I think your division is horrendous, like awful.
It has been for years,
a long time. It helps, but anyway.
Any worries about going part because Belichick literally nicks all their best players.
Well, no, they give them to us.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it, but yeah.
Any worries about going to Miami?
I'm saying Patriots, but who's asked?
Well, you
Patriots too.
I do it all.
I mean, if we lose it, it's not like we're not going to
9
the
and 4.
playoffs anyway.
It's not about playoffs now. It's about seedings, isn't it? For the Patriots now. The Saints rocked in midweek, Monday night, or was it? I think. Yeah,
Monday night.
And it wasn't. It was Thursday. Last Thursday it was. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And they got beat by the Dallas Cowboys, who just went old school on them and literally beat them up.
And he's got about 140 yards passing or
something.
something.
They are in Tampa.
Yeah, they're going to go.
That's a nice way to get right.
I think Tampa in the playoff hunt are 5-7.
Tampa are very much in the playoff hunt, but the Saints are going to wax them.
Yeah.
The Giants 4-8 go to Washington, who are now up to quarterback number 3. Two broken legs quarterbacks. Here's Mark Sanchez.
No. The Sanchez.
Very quickly, if anyone knows Colin Kaepernick and wants to go, here's what you do, Colin, to win your case about this collusion, just show them Mark Sanchez and say, this guy's playing and I'm not. Just show them that. And then while you're there, just show them Nathan Peterman snaps this year as well, and you might get it. You might win your case because Mark Sanchez is back. I will take the Giants, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'm picking the Giants as well.
The Redskins are that team this year who have just been injured so badly.
They were what, like 6-3, 6-4?
Again, it's I apologise, my fault. I said they're gonna roll into the playoffs. They're gonna be that team no one wants to play. And then two of their quarterbacks.
How nice was it to see Adrian Peterson break a 90-yard run off and sprint away from the DBs?
Yeah. But how even better was it that he had a 90-yard run and still didn't crack 100 yards?
Yeah, bizarre. But I mean, all the best to Mark Sanchez. Well, the Bengals are 5-7. Go to the LA 9-3 Chargers. The Chargers, who have never ever been on primetime in their life, go on primetime and pull off a big win. They, would you say, scraped it at the end? I don't know what you'd call it.
I don't know what happened at the end of that Steelers game, but it was absolutely friggin' mental.
Basically, the refs decided that any type of movement on it is a foul, and they had lads jumping over lines.
I think Steelers just went, fuck it, let's just try and see. They're not going to keep giving fouls away. And you're like,
at some point, they're not going to throw a flag if I get their area.
It was like the old way Seattle used to play defense with, like, well, if we just hold everyone, they're not going to call it every time. The Steelers were like, well, we just keep jumping offside, keep saying it, and just like, all right then, yeah.
Made the kick easy anyway. So, yeah, are we all going LA?
LA, mate.
The Chargers are for real.
Rocking and the rolling.
I mean, someone said that.
You said that last year as well, though. And I'm pretty sure you said it the year before.
A broken clock can be right twice a day. The 2-10 Niners host the 6-6 in the playoff hunt. Broncos. Probably, yeah. The Niners.
The Broncos will win that, but they're in trouble because Sanders has just tore his Achilles.
Yeah, they're in big. They're in big trouble.
Are they?
But
when?
A couple of days yesterday, I think it was.
The Niners are in big trouble because
my fantasy playoff hopes I've just been casted out over. Oh my god!
The mighty Arizona Cardinals, what a team! What an app! You do not want to play the Cardinals. Honestly, they're a good team. If you can go into Green Bay and win, then you had some team.
They're going up against the mighty.
There's Lions. Who cares? I'm just going to say Cardinals. Who cares?
Who are they playing? The Lions.
The Lions.
I go Lions.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with that because the Lions won about 4 games.
4-8.
Lions only beat good teams and then get twat away everyone else.
I don't think.
Well, actually, no. I'll take that back. Was it the Packers they beat?
Yeah, I was going to say,
so
on a good team.
Shit.
Having said that, no.
Us and made that myth.
Having said this, if they only beat good teams, the Cardinals are so good, as we saw last week, that they might go good. The Cardinals. It makes me cry. Luckily, I didn't watch much of that game because I was too busy dancing around Divock Origi happiness, but I just switched on. It was like 7-all. I was like, what's going on? This is ridiculous. And then it didn't change. 10-7 or something. The 7-5 on a roll Dallas Cowboys have a chance to go big by playing Philly again. They only just played.
Like 2 weeks ago?
Philly 6-6 go into Dallas 7-5 with a chance to get back all square in that division.
He's just sat in the middle of 2 lads just yawning their heads off.
I'm boring you lads. I'll come to you first then. Wake up lads. 7-5 Dallas are home to the 6-6 Eagles.
I'm going Dallas. I think Dallas are better than what I've been giving them credit. I still think they're way overrated and have way too much media coverage. But
come on, the Dallas Cowboys don't get too much media coverage, do they? You for real? It's only happened for 30, 40 years.
America's team.
They're America's team, that's right. Amari Cooper's made such a massive difference.
It's amazing what happens when they can't stack the box against Zeke. You see how good Zeke is. It gives Dak Prescott room to run around while Dak's looking better. it's all or nothing pretty much for the Eagles. If you lose this, you are 2 games back, and you're
over.
Is it Arnold, the lanky streaker piss tight end for them as well? Yeah, he's looked all right and started to make a few catches and contested catches and stuff as well. It's Cowboys, mate.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It is absolutely Cowboys. Something looks wrong with Wentz.
I'm going Dallas, but I'm not. I'll be honest. Philly look good, but then again,
they'll be happy that Sproles is back. The Eagles
beat the Giants, didn't they? Bro?
Yeah,
I don't know what
they struggled against the Giants. I know. Are we thinking the Giants?
Dallas defense good.
Yeah,
really good.
That Van Der Esch, is it?
Van Der Esch and Smith.
My God, he's amazing.
I told everyone about Jalen Smith 2 years ago, and now he can run, and now he's amazing again.
We're talking about Van Der Esch.
Yeah. And Van Der Esch is good. I mentioned him as well. He was in my previews for the draft.
I actually predicted Van Der Esch to the Cowboys in the draft. That was one of the ones where I got right. And I'm like, I have no idea who these people are.
They just need a middle linebacker.
You need to stop playing Sean Lee. You need to move on. And he was like the highest rated middle linebacker.
Makes sense. Sometimes
it's absolutely quality.
He's fast as anything. He's really good. And Jalen Smith's just as good.
He just needs to drop that.
No, he's having it. That's him.
No,
and Jalen Smith is so athletic, and he makes such a difference as well. And like I say, we all laughed at the Amari Cooper trade because it was a lot to give up. By the way, Oakland, 2 draft picks in the first round. Well done. 26 and 30 or something when Dallas and the Bears get to the conference final.
Yeah, you thinking they would be shit picks, didn't you?
They said when they traded Khalil Mack, we think it'll be a high pick. Well, the reason it's not a high pick is because you give Khalil Mack to the Bears. And the reason Dallas is not going to be a high pick is because you give Amari Cooper to Dallas.
It was like, we'll just have the high pick. So it works out the same. They've got the high pick now.
They've got 3 first round picks, but one's going to be like number 3, and it's going to be 25 and 28 or something. So good luck with that. Well done. All the best, John Gruden. When he keeps moaning.
Did you hear the news about the? I can't remember which report it was. Broke that he doesn't think Gruden had anything to do with those trades. He doesn't think he was the driving force. The owner hated the agent of both of those players, and they had the same agent, and he basically refused to work with him, and just his name's Mark something or he's an absolute maverick, and just decided I'm never working with that guy again. Get them off my books.
Mark Davis.
But any guy with a haircut like that. any guy with a haircut like that. Taking after, he's following his father.
I mean, it is the worst haircut owner
combination in the league. Yeah, who knows? But either way, I need the pass rush. Well, there's a guy in 52 who's doing really well, ruining my life in Dallas.
I just asked Khalil Mack. I just said out to Khalil Mack, listen, mate, I'm going to pay you the most money that any defender's ever going to have had in this league. What you need to do for it is change your agent. It's that simple.
Nope.
Okay, Sandra, you're going to Chicago.
He's sitting there going, yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So anyway, speaking of Oakland, 2-10. Hosting Pittsburgh, we're all going Pittsburgh.
This feels like a game that the Steelers could lose, but they're not going to.
No.
To be fair to the Raiders, they have looked a bit better over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
they have.
2-10.
They have looked a little bit better though. I've watched a couple of the games.
Yeah, 2-10.
I haven't. I checked out on the Steelers ages ago. The Raiders.
The 11-1 Rams go to the 8-4 said Chicago Bears. The ultimate good defense, good offense battle. I think Trubisky's going to play. It looks like he's going to play. If that makes a difference, obviously, because Chase Daniel has not been great. Having said that, they went 1-1 with him. They can probably live with that. I still think LA are going to have too much, but I think it might be closer than some might think.
I think every team that the Chicago Bears have beaten have been one-dimensional, and I think they can really hone in on something that when a team's one-dimensional. The way that LA are, they're not one-dimensional. They can beat you with the run and they can beat you with the pass. And they will have to rely on Todd Gurley to beat that pass
and you can rely on Todd Gurley
and slow it down, and therefore that will be enough.
Saquon ran on them. You can imagine Todd Gurley running on them as well.
No, I think the Bears are going to win at home. I think it's going to be a very cold game. I think Goff is going to have to go into that winter and see how he does. I think it's going to be very windy. I think it's going to be difficult to throw the ball. I trust that Bears defense, and I think Trubisky runs very well. Well, the weakness of the Rams defense is they can be run on quite comfortably.
Lots of Jordan Howard.
I'm not sure whether it's because Donald is so that's breaking the lines. I don't know whether that leaves gaps. That's a new theory I'm thinking of.
Donald.
Sorry, Donald.
Donald and Sue.
Donald, I think, because I'm not sure whether because he breaks that lines up with it, where that leaves a gap in behind. It's the thing that I've been contemplating. Like, I'd like to speak to a much better football man than us three idiots.
So he's in the backfield that much that there's space to run.
Yeah,
because he's
past. Yeah, he's quick off the mark. He goes
and also he doesn't keep into. He doesn't
stay
lanes. He just goes where he thinks he's going to win. Which I suppose it's a theory.
Yeah.
Sue, by the way, Sue's been just as good. I think people have been a bit not watching Sue too much. He's been good, but yeah.
So yeah,
but Sue's been double teamed his entire career, and now he's not getting double teamed. It's like anyone who used to swim with a t-shirt on, and then you take your t-shirt off and you just go like that.
Michael Phelps, eat your heart out. That's what Ndamukong Suh is, a t-shirtless swimmer. Big game for your team then on Monday night. You go to Seattle.
I just want to see
6-5-1
Dalvin Cook, mate. That's all I want to see. A little bit of Dalvin Cook, establish a run game, then get into the passing game, then put the bells and whistles on it. Yeah. That defense has been good the last 4, 5, 6 weeks.
It's amazing on third down.
It's incredible, and it has been all season. You know, those numbers, they don't stack up because we've got trounced in the first couple of weeks. But if you take the first couple of weeks off and look at it, we've been absolutely superb.
Anyone who plays Josh Allen knows that you can get trounced. Listen, Josh Rosen beat my team. Honestly, don't worry about it.
Hey, Mariota might be worse than the two of them.
Having said that,
Seahawks, mate, I just think they are playing so well at the moment.
They
look great on offense. They've got an offensive line. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball.
My issue is Seahawks will, I think, find themselves in third down a bit, and then you're really good on third down. Seattle it's almost like, well, that didn't work, and then they find something out of nowhere all the time, which is, you know, great coaching and great play calling to an extent on third down. I think that's a key battle, because I think Seattle always find themselves. I don't think they never really get big runs off. You know, Carson's played well, but I never really think 10 yards, 5. You know, it's always like 3, 4, 5s. If you get them into third and 3, third and 4 quite often, then you can trust Minnesota's defense to get off the field. I'll be honest, I just don't trust Kirk Cousins at the minute. He's got one in him a game, and I think in a close game, I think you might see that one.
I just think it's since everybody started double teaming
Adam Thielen, which
is what we done.
It's been very difficult for Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean? And you know, Diggs has been playing really well, and Diggs has been making catches and stuff, and you know, getting touchdowns and that. But we need to find a way to scheme Thielen open, and that's what we've not done in the passing game.
And you know how you do that? Run Dalvin Cook more.
Run Dalvin Cook and go
past the Dalvin Cook as well, yeah.
I've went to the Seahawks at all. I did this very close game.
Otherwise, it's really tough.
I've been like, because I still think that the Vikings can make the playoffs. I still fancy them as a playoff team. But
we're second, aren't we, in the wild card seed?
But like, I think they need
a loss here is big, because Seattle aren't winning that division, so they're going to nail themselves on as a wild card with a tiebreaker. It's a big game, and I'm going to go home team Seattle. Kind of for your sake, I hope your team win. But
I just don't. Look. Of course, you want to make the playoffs, but what's the point of making the playoffs if you actually don't think you're going to be able to do anything? You know what I mean?
I still think you could.
I'm unsure at the moment. We need to sort the offense out, and this week's the week to sort the offense out.
A clean Seattle sweep, I think we've gone for.
Yeah, Seattle.
I wasn't expecting that, I'll be honest. That was the shock of the week. Let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win all this week's games as well, if you're watching on YouTube. And if you listen, like I said, tweet us at Cover2TV. I was glad to be back. I've enjoyed that, gents. It was nice to have all three of us back in this lovely warm studio, which I'm desperate to leave, so I'm going to say bye. Chris, thank you. General, thank you. And we'll be back next week with Cover2TV. Goodbye.